Welcome back. The Air Force will follow the zero trust strategy that General Skinner of DISA mentioned earlier in the program. That strategy is supposed to be fully operational by 2027. Wanda Jones-Heath is Principal Cyber Advisor of the Air Force at TechNet Cyber. I asked her about the factors that drive the evolution of the threat landscape.
As I always say, the adversary gets a vote, and their vote is loud and clear. We continue to see the capabilities, and so our job is to make sure that we're able to defend those. You know, that we detect them early, figure out what they're doing, and then be able to respond in a timely manner.
How has what they're doing changed? What are you seeing inside the Air Force as far as the ways they're trying to get into the network, what they're trying to do if they're able to get in? The presumption now, of course, is that they're there and you have to be ready to defend against them.
Absolutely. You know, we recognize they're there, right? The fallacy is if someone says they're not, that's definitely not true. They are aggressive. They are moving. They are attacking things that we know are challenges. You know, cyber hygiene is something I preach all the time. And if we don't do the basics, then we've given the adversary the key to move laterally, to take data, to cause disruption, to challenge the things that we hold near and dear. And so we need to just make sure that we are continually looking and continually improving innovation, new tools, things that we can say, hey, we need to stay focused just like they are.
The CIO of the Air Force, Lauren Knausenberger, was on the FedGov Today podcast a couple of weeks ago. We talked about zero trust, huge topic of conversation at this event. Wanda, what are you seeing in zero trust, and how is the Air Force working to coordinate with DoD CIO on the zero trust strategy that's just out?
I can tell you that the DAF is all in, right? You know, it's a journey. You know, it's not you fix one thing and voila, we are zero trust compliant. You know, it starts with your architecture and knowing how and the things that we need to change, and then focus on our identity. You know, identity is the key to being successful with zero trust. You know, we need to assume that, that adversary is there. You know, continually say you have access and you continue that access. And so we are following what DoD is mandating. By 2027, we have investments. Secretary Kendall has put the money on the table for us to be able to do that. We have a full team with a strategy and concept, and so we're moving out.
Secretary Kendall was on this program last week talking about cyber as one of the important elements. Strikes me that's a sea change from what we would have seen 5-10 years ago, where the secretary of a service is talking about cyber as one of the important mission delivery areas rather than something that was stuck back in the IT shop.
Absolutely. You know, Honorable Kendall is a huge advocate, right? So in my position as the Principal Cyber Advisor, that makes my job a little easier because we have that maximum support at the very top of the pyramid. And what I would say is, you know, as his advisor, my analysis, my recommendation, he listens. He gives me the authority to kind of, you know, have those conversations within the cyber portfolio, bringing those stakeholders together, and being able to talk to him about what we need to invest in and why. Cyber, when you talk about cybersecurity, our infrastructure is the foundation of helping us win against the adversary.
What is the portfolio of a principal cyber advisor? What all do you have jurisdiction or advisory authority over to talk to the secretary about? So,
as his advisor, the unfiltered analysis, the third-party assessments, and being able to provide that recommendation. This position is mandated, by Congress, and so there are areas that we must address. One being workforce readiness, whether it's the readiness of the cyber force, whether it's the readiness of the forces we present cybercom, acquisition of cyber capabilities, acquisition of cyber tools, the culture of the department as it relates to cybersecurity, working with our DIB partners for supply chain risk management and cybersecurity, and cybersecurity at large. The biggest one that I spend a lot of time is the cyber posture. Understanding the cyber posture of our weapon systems, our information technology, and operational technology.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you said listed the weapon systems first when you're talking about cyber posture. Of course, that's the business that a military service is in, but I think a lot of people assume when they think cyber, they think technology stuff and operational stuff right away, not necessarily the weapon systems too, but there's software and everything now.
Oh, absolutely, and we do a great job with our IT. We've invested in it. We're familiar with it, but when we come to our weapon systems and our operational technology, we're moving in that direction. We're spending more time investing in getting the right people with the right skills in those areas.
Another thing that I think is interesting about the way you just described that portfolio is I think you said the word acquisition a number of times, and I don't know that people would think that that's what a PCA has her hand in also, in addition to the technology stuff.
Oh, absolutely. The warfighter is the customer, right? And so we need to make sure they have the tools to be able to, do the things that we ask them to do, as well as some of the capabilities. And then lastly, one of the biggest roles also is certifying the adequacy of the cyber budget, right? And ensuring that we're investing in the right things at the right time.
I want to go back to the threat landscape where we started, Wanda. As you look at the trajectory of the last couple of years, is that instructive in thinking about where it will go, or does it change in such a dynamic way that you really just can't predict it? You have to try to be aware of what's going on and keep pace.
So it's a little bit of both, because we depend on intelligence to tell us, what's going on, right? And being able to understand the targeting, that the adversary, the type of assets they're going after. So what we're hearing on the black web, all of that is relevant to understand what the adversary is and targeting and what they're saying, and we try to make sure that we keep that as part of the discussion. It changes. One day they may be targeting our weapon systems. The next day they may be targeting our operational technology. So all of that has to be protected at all times.
You just came from a panel with all of the principal cyber advisors of all of the services. What's that collaboration look like when you're not at a conference like this and you're working with your peers in the Pentagon?
I mean, it's crucial, right? Because I can't do it all. They can't do it all. So the more we're able to collaborate and partner and build on their strengths, for example, the Navy, as they move out on a lot of the operational technology, they're leading the effort. We're leading in software development, so there are things that we depend upon each other. We share, we email each other. We spend a lot of time talking and making sure that we are working together as much as possible.
Final thought, that collaboration, how would you like to see that mature over time? How would you like to see that evolve and develop?
I think we're doing a great job. We all recognize that we bring different skills to the table. We look at our staffs are connecting more and more. So if I had to say anything, just making sure our staffs, have that connectivity and relationship and partnership like we do.
Wanda, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris.